I found an old map in the glove compartment, folded thin from years of use. Showed places I never reached and some I never chose. The road looked simpler on paper, just lines and names and bends. But living it taught me differently about beginnings and ends. There was a summer that held on too long, and a winter that came too fast. I learned how time can loosen its grip without letting go of the past. Your name still rests in certain corners of songs I don't play out loud. It shows up when the room feels honest and the world isn't too proud. I don't chase the feeling anymore, I let it drift my way, like sunlight moving across the floor at the edge of day. I hum a tune without direction, just something steady and low, the kind you carry without thinking, the kind that knows where to go. If I've learned anything worth keeping, it's how to travel light, leave room for what arrives unplanned, and what stays through the night. So I fold the map and close the door, let the engine cool. I've already been where I needed to go, just being here was the rule. The morning moved in quietly, like it didn't want to wake the room. Light found its way across the table, stopped beside the empty spoon. I stood there longer than I needed, just listening to the house. Every sound felt earned and patient, like it had learned how. There's a warmth that lives in stillness, you don't notice when you're young. It waits until you slow your breathing and let the day be done. I remember roads that felt important, that turned out to be small, and conversations I carried for years that didn't need words at all. presence lingers in ordinary things, the way the door shuts soft, or how the floor remembers footsteps long after they're lost. I hum low just to keep myself company, a tune without a name. It fills the space between the hours without asking to remain. Time doesn't rush me like it used to. It walks beside me now, teaching me that knowing where I am is enough to know how. So let the morning finish speaking before I step outside. Some days don't need to go anywhere, they just need time.
Morning comes in quiet colors, blue and gray along the wall, coffee cooling by the window. I don't rush it anymore. There was a time I chased the daylight, tried to outrun where I'd been. Now I let the hours find me, like an old familiar friend. The street outside is almost empty, just a truck and someone's dog. Leaves are gathered in small drifts, like they stop to talk. I hear your voice in certain moments, not clear but close enough, in the way the room feels fuller, the air is warm and rough. I've kept things I should have thrown out, notes and keys that lost their doors. They remind me how we lingered in the spaces between chores. Life didn't break the way I feared. It bent then carried on, teaching me how love can fade without ever being gone. nothing special, just a sound to mark the day. Like a boat tied to the shoreline that never drifts away. If the years have taught me something, it's to let the small things stay. They're the ones that hold together what the rest can't seem to say. So I sit with all this quiet, let it settle, let it roam. Somewhere between then and now, I finally feel at home.
We didn't say goodbye the way people expect. No tears on the stairs, no careful respect. Just a pause in the doorway, keys in your hand. Like leaving was something we both understood. The room held its shape after you went, your coat still thrown where the winter had spent. I moved it once, then thought better again. Some things feel wrong when you straighten them out. The phone stayed quiet, the clock stayed loud. The day carried on without asking how. I made a list, then crossed it through. There wasn't much I needed to do. I walked to the corner just to be seen. Bought things I didn't mean to need. The clerk smiled like we were old friends. That kind of kindness doesn't ask questions. It's strange how relief can sit with regret. Like they don't mind sharing the same cigarette. I don't miss the noise, I don't miss the fight. Just the way we filled the late afternoon light. If you think of me, let it pass like a song you hear, but don't hold fast. Some endings aren't sharp or cruel, they just arrive quiet, practical and true.
The day let go without a sound, just slipped into the trees. The sky held on to what it could in pale unfinished blues. I sat with thoughts that didn't push or ask me where I'd been. They waited like old neighbors do, who don't need checking in. There's a kind of peace in repetition, the familiar and the slow, like taking the same long way home just to see what you know. Your memory doesn't ache tonight, it rests beside the calm, like a hand left on the shoulder without needing to belong. Certain moments is lighter than it seems. They stay because they want to, not because we make them mean. I hum into the growing dark, a sound the night accepts. It drifts between the things I've kept and things I've left unkept. If love has changed its shape with time, it hasn't left my view. It just learned how to sit beside me and not ask me to choose. When the evening finally settles in, like it knows my name, I don't hold on or turn away, I let it stay the same.
There was a time I thought the feeling would come back if I stayed still, like the air might change its mind if I waited long enough. But wanting has its own weather, and it doesn't always pass. Sometimes it just grows quieter until it feels like something else. I don't miss you in the old way, with the ache and the demand. I miss the person I was near you before I tried to understand. We were never meant to finish what we started in that year. Some things only open doors, they don't ask you to stay here. I learned the rules, but because I stopped insisting on what I thought I couldn't lose. If I think of you at all now, it's without the need to know what became of all the meaning we were sure we used to hold. I carry less There's room for breath, for doubt, for grace. And if love has another season, it doesn't need your face. Da-da-da-da. Da-da-da-da-da-da.
The road bends south of memory, past fields I barely knew. I drove it once with borrowed hope and a head full of you. The car sang low beneath the wheels, like it knew where I'd been. Every mile a quiet question I didn't answer then. There's a diner still standing with a faded red sign. I pulled in just to sit a while, let the moment unwind. The waitress called me hon, like she meant it that day. It felt like being recognized in a gentle passing way. I've learned that leaving isn't always about walking away. Sometimes it's learning how to stay with what you can't replace. The sun slipped down behind the trees, soft gold on cracked glass. I thought about how love can move and still leave a cast. If I hum, it's not a sad sound, just a low familiar tune, the kind you carry without words, like an old afternoon. I don't ask the road for answers now, I let it pass me through. Every turn a small reminder of what was true. And when the night comes quietly, like it always seems to do, I rest inside the knowing that something stayed with you clock in the hallway runs a little slow. Or maybe I just notice it more. It ticks like it's thinking about something I've already thought before. There's dust on the books by the sofa, notes tucked into pages I forgot, some words I meant to come back to, some answers I never saw. The sound of the evening, the way it hums when nothing's wrong, the kind of quiet that doesn't feel empty, just patiently long. I remember the shape of your laughter, not the words, just the way it fell, like rain that didn't need explaining, like a story it didn't tell. I've learned to live inside small moments, a cup, a chair, a window light, the comfort of knowing the day is done, and asking nothing of the night. Sometimes I hum just to feel it, the low soft proof I'm here, a sound that doesn't need an answer, just a place to appear. If the years have been gentle teachers, they taught me how to stay, to let the quiet finish its sentence, and not rush away. So I sit with the house and its breathing, let the evening come through. I don't need much to feel complete, just the room, the time, and you.
I used to think love was a question you answered once and held on to, something you said out loud so it wouldn't slip away from you. Now it feels more like breathing, something you notice when it's gone. Not dramatic, not broken, just quietly move along. I don't reach for you the way I did, like you might disappear. You settled into me somehow, less sharp but always here. There tried to make a future stay out of something built to last just as it was. I'm learning how to sit with things without naming what they mean. Let the feeling have its shape, even if it isn't clean. If you think I've grown distant, it's only because I've grown calm. Some closeness doesn't lean forward, it rests where it belongs. And if love leaves a trace at all, it's not the fire, not the sound. It's the way I move through silence now without needing you around.
The house still creaks the way it used to when evening settles into the floor. Light bends softly on the windows like it's been here many times before. I left my jacket on the chair again, same one from years ago. Smells like dust and old pine needles and the places we didn't go. There's a photograph half hidden behind a book I never read. You're laughing in a yellow kitchen, something simple that you said. The radio hums a tired melody, low enough not to intrude. I let it play like background weather for the shape of missing you. Some nights feel longer than they should. Some days arrive too fast. I walk the line between tomorrow and the pull of the past. I thought time would teach me answers, sand the edges smooth, but it mostly just rearrange the things I thought I knew. still talk out loud to no one, just to hear a human sound. Let the quiet wrap around me like a coat I've always found. If you ever wonder where I landed after all the years went by, I'm still here learning how to listen to the way old moments sigh. The night settles into the corners like it's always understood that some things don't need forgiving, they just need to be remembered good. Found a note I never finished, tucked inside an old coat sleeve. Just a sentence leaning forward, with nothing to believe. It wasn't meant for any moment, didn't carry weight or blame, just a thought that needed resting without a need for name. The years have thinned my explanations, left the simple things intact. I don't stack my days with meaning, I let them stack me back. Their comfort in the way the body learns what the heart can't say, how breathing fills the empty parts and gently stays. I don't measure love in memory, try to make it stay. I meet it in the passing glance and let it walk away. I hum low into the silence, like smoothing out a seam, not trying to hold the fabric, just keeping it clean. If I've earned anything worth holding, it's the ease of letting be, the freedom of unfinished thoughts that finally set me free. When the night closes without questions and the world feels plain and true, I don't ask it for tomorrow, I just
just sit with what I knew.
I don't tell the story the same anymore. It's changed with the years somehow. Not the facts, just the weight of them. What I carry and how. There was a time I held it tightly like it needed my defense. Every word pressed into place so it wouldn't bend. Now it comes back softer, like it's learned how to wait. I don't argue with it, I don't ask it to explain. Some feelings finish quietly without a final sound. They don't leave, they loosen enough to move around. I used to measure what we were by what I couldn't keep. Now I know some things stay truest when you let them sleep. If there's meaning left between us, it isn't mine to prove. It's just part of how I stand here now, and how I choose to move. I don't need the ending clear or the beginning true. Somewhere in the middle, I learned how to let it be you.
There's a bench near the old train tracks, paint worn thin by years of sun. I sat there once without a reason, just watching nothing run. The rails hung low beneath the ground, like they knew more than me, carrying other lives forward without asking where they'd be. I thought about the choices made, the ones I didn't see. How some doors close without a sound and still shape who we'll be. The wind pulled leaves across the gravel, slow circles, soft and loose. They never argued with direction, they just let themselves be moved. I used to think arriving mattered, that somewhere its own quiet dignity. I hummed a sound without intention, let it rise, let it fall. It felt like speaking to the distance without calling at all. Nothing asked me to explain myself. Nothing asked me to stay. The bench, the rails, the open sky accepted the day. If I leave anything behind me, let it be this truth: some moments don't belong to time, they just belong to you.
I woke before the alarm again, that half-light hour that doesn't explain if it's too early or already late. Just the house breathing wide awake. The hallway floor was cold on my feet. I stood there listening to the heat kick on and off like it forgot what it was trying to warm or not. There's a note still tucked in the drawer, written for something we needed before. I read it once, then put it away. Some words don't age, they just stay. I poured the coffee a little too strong, let it sit while the day came along. Through the glass, the sky looked unsure, like it hadn't decided what it was for. I used to rush to fill the air with reasons, plans, or careful prayer. Now I let the quiet speak. It usually knows me better than I think. If today asks nothing of me, I won't argue, I'll let it be. I've learned there's a softer kind of true in mornings that don't ask much of you. So I sit where the light comes in, not waiting, not remembering, just hear enough to understand. Some peace arrives when you don't demand. I don't carry you the way I used to, like something I might lose. You're lighter now, more like a thought that knows where it belongs. Some days you come in without warning, not loud, not dressed in pain, just passing through my afternoon like a name I used to say. I remember how everything mattered, every word, every pulse. Now I let the moment finish without needing a cause. It took me years to learn the difference between holding and staying near. Some love wants a quiet corner, not a promise, not a tear. I see you sometimes in the mirror, in the way I turn away, in the calm I didn't earn, but somehow learned to keep this way. If you ever think I left too early or waited far too long, no, I stayed as much as I could without turning what we were on. There's a peace that doesn't announce itself, it just settles when it's time. And if that sounds like letting go, it's only learning how to be kind. The kitchen stayed warm after everyone left. The smell of bread still hanging like fall. I wiped the counter slower than I had to, letting the quiet settle where it ought. There were plates in the sink, nothing urgent, just proof that the day had been here. I watched the light slide down the cupboard, was this time of year. I remembered when the room felt louder, not from noise, just from need. Every voice leaning into another, like that was the only way to breathe. Now the house seems to know when to wait, when to creak, when to stay still. Even the clock has learned how to take its time, if you will. I sat at the table without a plan, hands folded then unfolded again, thinking about things that didn't hurt, but hadn't exactly healed when. It's not loneliness, not exactly, more like space learning how to feel, like a coat you don't reach for anymore, but still remember how it used to keep you warm and real. The evening came in soft and plain, no announcement, no insistence, just the sound of a neighbor closing a gate, and the comfort of simple existence. I turned off the light, left the room as it was. Some things don't need to be explained. The kitchen will be here in the morning, quiet, patient, unchanged. The road was already warm when we started out. Sun just lifting, no need to shout. You drove with one hand resting loose, like you trusted the miles to choose. The radio faded in and out, a voice I knew but couldn't place now. We didn't bother turning it clear. Some things sound better when they disappear. The fields went by in a patient way, not asking where we plan to stay. Every fence looked like it had learned how to stand still and not be concerned. I watched your face in the windshield light, half there in the morning, half still night. You weren't thinking about me, I knew, just letting the road do what roads do. We stopped for coffee somewhere small, the screen door slamming, a clock on the wall. You said it tasted burned but fine, like most things do when you give them time. I felt the road loosen its hold on you. We part, we breathe, we let it end. Like something borrowed, not something to mend.
Evening leans against the windows like it's tired of standing still. The sky wears its faded color, soft blues and quiet hills. I turn the lamp a little lower, let the shadows have their say. They know things I don't ask anymore. They've watched me every day. There were years I spoke too loudly, trying to be understood. Now I trust the softer answers, the ones that sound like good. Your memory moves without warning, not heavy, just near, like a song heard through another room that I still hear clear. I keep my hands warm around a mug, steam rising slow and thin. It feels like holding on to something that never had a beginning. If love has learned to change its voice, mine learned to listen back, to hear what stays when the words are gone and the noise cracks. I hum because the night allows it. No reason, no refrain, just proof the heart still remembers without asking for pain. When sleep comes softly like forgiveness, I don't push it away. I let the quiet close the evening the same gentle way.
Sunlight settled low and wide across the floor I'd like to find. I sat with my back to the door. No reason, just the way before, when waiting was something I did without expecting anything in return. Outside, a dog barked once, then quit. Like it remembered how to sit with it. The street knew how to hold its breath. That kind of quiet you don't correct. I thought about years like folded cloth, not lost, just set a little off. Some colors fade, some hold their place. Some you only feel, not face. There's comfort in the ordinary, in cups, in chairs, and days that carry no promise bigger than getting through what's right in front of you. When evening finally took its turn, the light grew soft instead of stern. I didn't rush to turn it on. Let the dark arrive, gentle and gone. If peace has a shape at all, it's probably nothing you'd notice or call. Just a room, a breath, a little space where time loosens up and lets you stay. The window is open a little too wide, letting the street sounds wander inside. A truck down the block, someone closing a door. The kind of small noises I've heard before. I stood by the sink with my sleeves rolled up, watched the steam lift slow from a chipped blue cup. The morning came in without asking my name, just light on the floor, always doing the same. I thought about you in the way that I do, not sharp like a picture, more faded than true, like something you hum when you're not really sure where the tune came from or who it was for. There's a chair in the corner that still faces wrong, like it's waiting to hear some unfinished song. I meant to move it, I meant to decide, but some things just stay where the silence resides. day took its time, passing through, shadows leaning away, they always do. Nothing was broken, nothing was said, just the quiet agreeing with what's in my head. I used to believe I'd know when to go, that leaving was something you somehow just know. But the hours kept moving, polite and slow, and I stayed with the light as it softened low. If you were here, you'd probably smile, say nothing important, just sit for a while. We were always better at letting things be than turning the moment into a decree. So I rinse out the cup, leave the window ajar, let the afternoon stretch as far as it wants to go. Some days don't ask for a reason or a sign, they just rest in your hand.